have so many art journals started, but they're all for different purposes. And guess what? I'm going to start another smaller one. This is a 5x7 Strathmore What's Your Story watercolor, 140 pound cold press art journal, and it's ring bound. What I'm going to use this journal for is Claudia Rossi on Krazy Island Studio. It is I'll put a link to the Krazy Island Family Art Group and to the Krazy Island Studio. She started some classes, her and Peter Thompson and Gina Abrams. But as a part of that, they are also doing free journal art prompts. And you can get journal art prompts on several different art groups. But currently I'm not doing anything. You can see my hands are all messy. Currently I'm not doing anything as far as following an art group with just journal prompts. And I thought, well, you know, I'm going to do that, at least for a while, and I'm going to do it in this small journal. I'm going to play catch up. They've already put out every week. They come out on every Sunday. And the first journal art prompt was to make marks with things that you have around. And so I gathered up some various things. And then on the second week, I think it was use something around the house to make a mark with, or to art journal with. But I'm going to do the first week prompt here, and I've been playing with this technique of, I'm going to do the background side of it first, of just a little bit of craft paint. This is Deco Arts indoor-outdoor patio paint, and I love the color. It's hydrangea. But I've been finding that if I mix just a few drops, you can kind of guess how much you want, of airbrush medium with that craft paint, it makes a really nice stamping medium when you use things like this. Like this is off of one of those wire racks, you know, the little corner piece that holds everything together. When you use a plastic piece like the bottom of your stamp pad. I have some buttons here that I glued to a piece of cardboard, and I'm thinking that it's kind of hard to stamp these things with ink, and if you use plain acrylic paint, it gets, without it being thinned down, it gets a little, I don't want to say gooey, but it's thicker. So I've been experimenting with mixing this these craft paints. See how much that thinned it down with that airbrush medium? And I'm just going to do a wash over my page here just to get a nice background. And no, I don't care if my rings get messy, you know, the wire binding here. This is just a prompt journal. And I'm just going to put a wash over the background so I have something to stamp on here. I might need to mix up a little bit more. But I really like how that airbrush medium thins out the paint and yet keeps the texture, and it makes a really nice medium to stamp with. And get this. So this is going to be week 1 of the Krazy Island Family Journal prompts. Okay, I'm ready to do page 2, which would be week 2 in the KIF, Krazy Island Family, art journal prompts. And I'm doing them in this little Strathmore journal. This is the first one I did for page 1, which was to use various items around the house to make marks on your page to do stamping with, and I showed you the items that I used to make that. I think I did some more to this page since I showed it to you last. I think I added some, did I show you where I added the gold? And I think I did some more decorative things around the edges, just playing with it. So now I went ahead and prepped the background with just a buttercup yellow acrylic folk art paint. So, why do I have this pitcher of water on my table? And why do I have a little jar of jelly jam on my table? Well, I have the pitcher of water on my table because I cracked the the little vase that I was using as my water jug. I cracked it right down there and I didn't feel like it was safe to use. So I went thrifting again, and I found this. And this is, here's an antique lesson for today. This is what they call pressed glass. When you buy these type of items, there's cut glass and pressed glass. Now, cut glass is way more expensive, and when you run your hand across the area here on cut glass, you can feel a sharpness and ridges. You can kind of feel ridges in here, but it's still, if you run your hand down here, you don't feel that sharpness. It's more pressed. It's not a cut glass. It's been pressed. I would say it's probably more machine made. I don't know the ins and outs of making these, but I do know the difference between cut glass and pressed glass. Pressed glass is much cheaper. I got this for 99 cents. But it's elegant. Isn't that elegant? I don't want to tip it too much because I got water in it. But what a fun thing to use as your water jug. I'm hoping that, I haven't spilled it yet. It's a little tapered down at the, but it's meant to hold water. It's a little pourable picture type thing. Now, the jam, the jam I got at, when I showed that watercolor video of Peck's Farm Market, when I went inside shopping, I bought this little souvenir package. It's really more of a touristy packaging of jam. And it came in this plastic clamshell packaging. And I just brought the jam to show you what was inside of it. But after I took the packaging apart, I'm going, oh, look. I got Greetings from Wisconsin here. And I took the top of this clamshell packaging and cut it down. And I don't know how much you can see. Yeah, you can see them. I've got some little pieces that I can cut stencils out of. And I did that with one. I cut some little diamonds out of it. I don't know if you can see those. You'll see it when I use it. So that's what I'm going to do here. And the prompt for week 2 is to use things on your page that you find around the house. So that's what I'm going to do. What I found around the house was this, and I didn't buy this with the idea of doing it because I don't think the prompt was even there when I bought this. But I opened the jelly or the jam, and I didn't want to toss the toss the packaging. like to do a little show and tell here at the end. This is the journal prompt journal that I started for Krazy Island Family 2014 journal prompts. They started giving a weekly prompt. I'll give you a link to that in the description box below. I decided that I was going to use the inside cover of the journal to record the prompts. So week 1 prompt was use found objects to stamp with, and week 2 prompt was create a page using things that you already have. So my week 1 prompt, you saw the process video, or you will see it depending on where I put this after I edit it. But week 1 prompt was to stamp with things, odd things that you have around the house. And I stamped with some buttons that I glued to a card. I stamped with a bobbin, it's a little antique wheel, pattern trace. I made some marks with this pattern tracer. I used the cap of an ink pen that made these. I used the bottom of a round stamp pad. I used an electrical cord plug-in cover that made these little rectangles in there. I used some glue cap covers. Used clothespin. We'll use the little spring of the clothespin. So those are kind of the things that I stamped with. It's fun doing that. Oh, and I used the cover of my little whatnots, bits and bops, little storage container. So week 2 prompt, let me put this out of the way. Week 2 prompt was to create a page using things that you have around the house. Well, when I did that Peck's Farm Market watercolor, I went inside and I bought some jellies and jams, and it came with this really pretty Wisconsin label. It's more of a touristy, buy this product from Wisconsin type thing. And it came with this clamshell packaging. And I made some stencils out of that clamshell packaging. I call this my weird one because it's just, but surprisingly enough, I like it when it stencils. And then I did some diamond shapes, and then I have a roll of acetate and a Martha Stewart punch. And this was sort of hard to do, but it did punch it. I had to work with it. Kept getting caught in there. I would not do that all the time, but I did it for this page. And I use my acrylic craft paints and airbrush medium and my fine liner. The only thing I did not use on this page was the jam. It's probably sticky enough, it probably could have collaged with it, but no, I'm not going to do that. So here's the finish on that one. Here's week 1. And here's week 2. So I'm ready for week 3 prompt. For week 4, I've already painted a background. So they give those prompts every Sunday now, so I'm looking forward to doing this. Fun. Just fun doing this. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just play in your art journal.